All right, welcome to this episode of the Thunder Underground podcast. I'm Trent.
And I'm Jason.
And we've got a pretty good one here for you today, we believe.
Yes.
Yeah, we sat down and had a video conference, basically interview. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, sounds like video chat.
Yeah, video chat with Mike Araiza, who's a guitarist who is best known for his work with the Frank Hannon Band during the Six String Soldiers lineup. He's also got a project with Jeff Sandoval, who was a singer of the Frank Hannon Band during that time as well. And it's called Mike Araiza and Jeff Sandoval Project. Pretty easy to remember. We get in all kinds of stuff, but before we get into that, we just want to let you know, as usual, to look us up online, thethunderunderground.com. That's our website. It's got all our podcasts on there, the links to all social media stuff, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. What you got? Anything?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know what I have.
Other than being sick?
Yeah, being sick is I've got something going on with me in the middle of July, and it fucking sucks. But, we press on.
Right.
We are rock and roll impresarios, Trent, and we are going to get through this. And what is helping me get through this is the interview we've got coming up. It was a great conversation. Mike Araiza was very positive, very upbeat, and it was an inspiring interview. He's got a really good story.
Yeah. And funny enough, when we did the interview with him a while back, he was sick.
Yes.
So now you are.
Yeah.
So I
went
guess
right on to me.
Right.
But that's okay.
Right. But speaking of Frank Hannon Band, we wanted to mention his newest album came out in, was it February, I think?
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, you want to talk about it or what? I mean, it's a great album.
I think it's probably, I like it better than Gypsy Highway. I think it's right up there with Six String Soldiers. His voice sounds great. I think it sounded better each time he's taken the mic.
Yeah.
I love Heavy Metal Hippie, Lucky 13, Psycho Cab Ride.
Yeah.
It's a great listen for sure.
Yeah, and the cool thing to mention about Frank Hannon is that every album he's done now has a distinct style to it.
Yes, definitely.
And like his first one that he did, years back, Guitars from Mars, was heavily, instrumental. And then Gypsy Highway is more laid back. It's got a lot of acoustic and clean stuff on it. And Six String Soldiers, is real guitar oriented because it's got all the, well, obviously it's Frank Hannon, everything's guitar oriented, but I mean, it brings in all the legends that, we get into in this interview with Mike. And of course the new one, it just kind of mixes all these styles together.
Yeah.
And like you said, his voice has, come a long way in the last, 10 years that we've been hearing it. Yeah.
A very long way. But, like we talk about with Mike in this interview, just to be able to be on the same record as some of those, Dickie Betts and Rick Derringer, that had to be amazing.
Oh, yeah. Mike's also got another project that he's working on. It's called, he said the working title is #Co-write. And it's a project that a collaboration album that he's doing with a well-known modern rock guitarist, songwriter, producer who's best known for heavy music, and we get into all that in the interview, so I'll let you wait and hear about that. And he said he's expecting that out in sometime next year. But in the meantime,
looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely, because he's got a kind of like us, loves really heavy music. A lot heavier than what he's known for with Frank Hannon.
Yeah.
And so this will probably show that side of his talents and music taste.
Awesome.
So looking forward to that. But in the meantime, check out his project with Jeff Sandoval. You can find, I know they've got the stuff on YouTube and iTunes. They've got 3 or 4 songs out now, and they're all great stuff.
Yeah, it is.
It's the same kind of vibe
Spotify.
as right.
Oh yeah.
It's the same kind of vibe as that Six String Soldier stuff. Be sure and look him up on Facebook, give him a like, follow him on Twitter. Do whatever you can to support to support these guys. It's great music. Of course, like I said before, once you're on there, give us a follow and a like and share this.
You must share it.
Yeah.
You must. It's going to be great.
Definitely. Well, let's get into this. This is our interview with Mike. Thanks for listening. All right, we're joined now by Mike Araiza. How you doing, man?
Great. How are you guys?
Great.
Great.
Great to have you.
Just got over a summer cold. They suck.
Yeah.
So if I cough through this, I'm sorry.
It's all good. All good.
No problem. Yeah, how'd you get a cold when it's I don't know how hot it is in New Mexico, but it's like 105 degrees here today.
I don't know, man. It's kind of going around. My wife had it first, but just Friday. I think I kind of did it to myself. I like to run a lot, and was last Thursday. I tried to push myself, and it was raining outside, like drizzle, and I was trying to beat some times. And I think because after you run like that, for 30 minutes, your immune system's pretty low, and I didn't eat very well after that. So I think that just kind of made my body vulnerable.
Right.
Yeah.
Hope that clears up for you pretty quick.
Yeah, well, it's I'm out of bed. I mean, I've been in bed since Saturday, so it was pretty fierce,
Wow.
And then during the summer, it sucks to have a cold because it's hot and it's humid, and so. But my wife, she took good care of me. She got tired of hearing me complain, so she just stopped.
Nice.
Well, getting into the music, you and Jeff Sandoval have over the past year, as far as I know, at least three songs out.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah. Is that
getting ready to do a 4th here? I actually go out to LA this week to track.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you guys gonna just continue doing it like that, where it's one song at a time? Or are you planning to do a full length album anytime soon? Or?
We don't know. I mean, we're just kind of taking it as it comes with schedules and stuff like that. There's always been a lot of creativity with Jeff and I. I mean, we've been working together now since 2008, 2009. And we've got, so many ideas that are unfinished that, it just kind of goes to with what we're feeling. There's been a pretty big delay between the last single and this one. The original plan is we were going to do like a digital release every 45 days. And although that's a very cool idea, but staying on top of that and conforming that with everybody's schedules and stuff like that just didn't come into fruition. But this song that we're getting ready to work on, it's actually done. We just got to do like the post-production. So we're really excited about this one. We think this one really encapsulates where we're going and who we are now as opposed to everything else we were in. The one thing that we do like about doing a single at a time is versus when you do an album kind of makes you feel like you have to have everything encapsulated into one vibe or one, it's dynamic, but it's static at the same time. You almost feel like, the album has to have a sound. When you do a single at a time, you get to just make it a single. You get to focus on that song and make that song everything it is. And we really, really enjoy that because it doesn't put like boundaries and limits. And I know every artist says no boundaries, no limits and stuff like that. But it's kind of a gimmick almost, but it's really not if you really think about it from an artistic perspective and from a writing perspective and also from a personnel perspective for us. The thing about Jeff and I is we've never really committed to like one drummer or one bass player. We've always moved around through all the projects we've done with different drummers. And the thing that we're excited about is on this new song, we got Chris Collier doing drums. And Chris Collier is just getting a lot of notoriety right now as a producer and a mixer and an engineer. He actually mixed and produced all our other tracks. And so it made sense to have him do the drums on this track. He did the drums for this All I Need track, but this time we're doing a lot more organically. We bought some studio time. He was kind enough to take, the time out of his very, very busy schedule with all the projects he's working on, put down the drums. And every drummer we've ever worked with, from our OTE stuff to the 6-string Soldiers to this stuff, every drummer has been a top shelf drummer, and he just comes right in that category and just hits it out of the park.
Cool. Do you have a release date in mind for that in the next few weeks, or?
We do. Well, I go out on Friday, and I'll be out there working Saturday and Sunday. And then I come home on Monday, and then Jeff is going to do the final vocals within the next 10 days. I think he's got some gigs that he's doing with the side project. I think within that time, we're going to find some studio time, and then I'll go back to Chris for post-production. And then from there, we'll figure out, a digital release. We're trying to figure out, how we want to release stuff too. I mean, we got so much digital environments now. We're really, really thinking how we want to approach this. We're not anti-digital, but we're gonna finish a song, and then we're gonna calibrate and see how we want to get it to our friends. Because it's just everywhere, and it's cool, but everybody has a different platform these days. I mean, you have some folks that have Android, some folks that have iOS. You have some folks that want to use the CD in their car. You have some people that still want to buy vinyl. You have some people that only use Spotify. You have some people that use Google Play, and you have some people that only listen to YouTube. And so, you want to reach everybody, but you don't want to spread yourself so thin to where it's not tangible. So that's the thing that I'm struggling with myself, trying to figure out how do we keep music going in this digital age, and we're not those grumpy old men that are going to cross our arms and just not want to change. I mean, I'm a techie more than anybody else, but I think that we gotta as artists gotta say, well, who's leading the ship? Are the tech companies telling us what to do, or are we going to figure out what we want to do? And so that's the conundrum I think we all have.
Yeah, it's it used to just be the CD or the tape or the album, and now it's a million different things. And what do you do?
Right. Well, and how do you channel all that energy into one hit? To where, what I mean by a hit, how do you get it all to one place where everybody can enjoy it? And that's the problem. If you put it across all these platforms, I've found that people don't get to enjoy it. So it might be something on YouTube exclusively with a partner of ours. We don't know. But it's we might. We're already working on another song, so we might get these songs plus a song we're getting released, and maybe another 2, and then put them into an EP by the fall and put that out.
Yeah, I think that's smart. I mean, a lot of bands are just doing EPs or just singles here and there, and that seems to be it just makes a lot of sense lately.
Well, the other thing is there's so much. I mean, on the flip side, if you look at, for me, just as a fan of music, Breaking Benjamin, Saint Lasonia, Tremonti, Disturbed, Pop Evil, Lynch Mob, Periphery, Lamb of God, all these guys have new albums out within the past couple of months, and they're all great. And they're all doing these pre-sales and stuff like that, and that's great. Seven Dust is going to have their new album out pretty soon. Lynch Mob is getting ready to release another album. Gosh, I mean, there's just so many out there. And for me as a music fan, I say this is great. But even as a music fan, I'm trying to decide how I want to balance purchasing this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, being a runner, I love having my iPhone and being able to put that in my jog belt and being able to let it play. So if I buy a CD, it's a little bit of work. You got to load it and then sync it to your phone and stuff like that. The whole Apple Music thing. I set it up on my wife's iPad, and I'm not sure about that. I'm really not, because you have all this music here and you're not paying for it.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if we're going to continue with that. But I put it on my wife's iPod, on her iPad and stuff like that, because I'm the one that buys the music, and so I'm the filter. I'm the deliverer. I'm the. She doesn't get a choice what we listen to.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
That easy in my household.
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah.
Honestly, with that being said, though, my wife and I went for a run about 10 days ago, and we have our own pace, and we run at the track, and I look over and I asked her, "What are you listening to?" And she gives me the horn. She's like, "I'm listening to Slipknot." She's like, "It totally helped my pace." And it's like, every husband's dream.
Yeah.
For your wife, or I'll come home and she'll be, doing her stuff, and she'll have the stereo crank. She'll be like listening to like Disturbed or Tremonti or Seven Dust or something like that. And that's her own thing. So I'm really lucky in that sense that my wife and I mean, we go to concerts together, we travel. She supports my music, and our lives are really centered around music in every way, including writing it.
Nice. Right on.
Yeah, it's great to have that. Definitely.
Yeah, but the thing about this project that Jeff and I are working on is this is a song that we had started last year, and then Jeff got busy with one of his side projects here locally. He really enjoys performing, and so he's got a great bunch of guys that he goes out with that we grew up with, and they do like the circuit here in Albuquerque. And so he went and did that. And plus, for him, it's good for him to do stuff like that because it really keeps his voice in shape. Because as a singer, doing studio work and stuff like that's not enough to keep you in shape. You got to go out and you got to sing in front of a band. Yeah. And, I could already hear just with what we're doing now that it's made his voice even stronger, possibly even stronger than, some of the other tracks we've done. So we had a phone conversation, and I've been working on another project as well. And so I had some downtime. I told him, dude, it's like, people, we get messages all the time. When you guys going to put out another song? Is there going to be another Six String Soldiers album? He says, we should really put something out. And he's like, well, send me all your ideas. And so I was going through, and I have this hard drive here of all our ideas. And so I was just kind of flipping through it. And the first thing that came up in the folder directory was that one because it was the last one that was archived. And it was like it already had everything. It was already arranged. The guitars were there. The vocals were there. I says, what do you think about this one? And I sent it to him. I sent him a text. And he texted me back in all capital letters. He's like, I totally forgot about this. And so it's a good thing. So we just made a couple of tweaks to it. And I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited to finish this one. It's got the attitude that I like out of music, and it's got the prime vocals that Jeff likes to put in music, and that's always been our thing. Is my wife's home. Say hi.
Hi.
Hey.
The one thing that him and I have always kind of our whole philosophy has always been he's that classic voice. He's the Boston meets Foreigner type voice.
Right.
He grew up with the big choruses. That's what he loves about music is those big choruses, the things that make you want to raise your arm and sing. And I'm the that's cool. I love that. But for me, I'm that heavy riff. I'm the when I was a kid, my brother had AC/DC, Ted Nugent, stuff like that. And, my uncles had, the Allman Brothers and stuff like that. And so when I was a kid, the Allman Brothers and Led Zeppelin, all that was stuff my uncles listened to. And my brother, I'll never forget first time I heard, Cat Scratch Fever and Highway to Hell and stuff like that. It had this like angst that was just different than Led Zeppelin and different than Skynyrd. It was just free for all, that riff, that that's just like the ultimate riff. And so that's kind of like, when you're a kid, that's kind of when we pick up our accent. We pick up our accents from our parents, and I feel the same thing with music. That's your accent. That's kind of like how you talk.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that aggressive punch that Highway to Hell had and Ted Nugent had has always just kind of been in me. And then I started playing guitar, you know, at 10 years old. And then a few years later, here comes Metallica, and here comes Megadeth, and here comes Anthrax. And so I've always had that edge, heaviness. And then, in high school, there was a promoter here in Albuquerque that controlled all the nightclubs, and he picked the songs that everybody played in all the clubs, and he created this monopoly, and I hated it. And so, and those guys were my friends. They were about 5 or 6 years older than me, and Jeff was part of that circus. So there was this really polished sound, and it was great. I mean, some of the greatest musicians in Albuquerque did that circuit, but it turned me off because it was really controlled, and it was all just like pop orientated, and so I went to like the underground. I went and played in abandoned warehouses and stuff like that. And I played in a death metal band and stuff like that.
Nice.
So I've always had that, and not to say that I don't like the other things. And so the unique thing that I feel that Jeff and I have with the projects that we work on is we have that agitation, and it kind of comes across with songs that we've written together, like Lipstick, Smoke, and Gasoline, from the Six String Soldiers album, or I'm Just Saying. Those, in my opinion, have a lot more of my personality. And then Jeff and his great vocals, and then of course Frank Hannon, he produced those songs and made those songs what they are. So that's what excites Jeff and I about working with each other. We have these different attitudes, if you would, set of inspirations that kind of come together and have fun and make rock music and have that, what we hope is an edge, but with a melodic throwback type vocal.
Right.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that, because most people who sing like him aren't singing over stuff that's, heavier, like, like you guys, like your music is, and like the stuff with Frank Hannon was. So it's definitely cool to hear that.
Yeah, well, and on the contrary, excuse me, on the flip side though, I mean, I still love the traditional rock and roll. I mean, it's still deep in my heart. I mean, Love, Life, and Beauty is a song that people still talk about today. And Love, Life, and Beauty was an idea that I had when Frank had agreed to work on an album with us, and I'll never forget, just being up saying, man, I got to come up with something that fits, that audience, that fits Frank and fits all this. And fortunately, lucky enough for all of us, I had that acoustic intro. Obviously, Frank and Jeff made it the great song that it is. I just had the little seed of it, the idea of the chords and, little intro thing. So that's still part of me too. Tesla was a huge, huge influence on me, because when Tesla came out, Modern Day Cowboy, just that punch, it was just in your face. Mm-hmm. We all remember that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, to the day, you still put it on. It's like, it has that riff that Frank does, and it just punches you in the face, and it was aggressive. Tesla's the only band on the planet that can go acoustic in the middle of the set, and still kick ass.
Yeah. That is true. That's
I've seen it time after and time again, which, none of this would be here if it wasn't, for Tesla. I mean, I don't know if you guys know the backstory. Real quick, about 2007, a friend of mine called me on the phone and says, hey, man, Tesla's in town. They're giving away concert tickets. They're having a guitar contest. I was like, I'm there. I grab my guitar, I go down there. And as it ended up, the winner got to sit in with Tesla. And so I lucked out. I won the contest. Dave Rude and Frank Hannon and Tom Zutaut were the judges. And so that was kind of the start. So that was on a Saturday. And so I got to hang out with Dave and Frank. It was totally cool. And then Tom Zutaut came in, gave me the CD, and he says, I'm probably going to have you play these two, but learn the rest of them just in case. So I was up all night, learning all these songs. And the two that Tom Zutaut had picked, we played. And prior to that, I mean, I wasn't really doing anything with music. And Tesla was gracious enough to allow me on their stage. They didn't know me from Adam.
Yeah.
And they let me play about 25 minutes with them. And, they let me play a guitar solo. I mean, they let me be an artist. They let me express myself. And Frank and I, we went back and forth doing like dual leads. And that's really where it all started. After the show, Dave Rude, this was right when MySpace was, really popular. He took me aside. He's like, dude, you need to make a MySpace account. You need to get out there. You need to start writing music. And then Frank followed up, gave me a different challenge. He says, you can play guitar. We know that. But can you write the songs? You need to really challenge yourself in becoming a songwriter, because nobody really cares about the solo. You need to challenge yourself about being a songwriter. I mean, that's not the exact verbatim. So Dave Rude gave me his contact information, and I accepted the challenge. And I kind of just, kept knocking on those guys' doors for a while until, next thing you know, they connect us with their graphic artist, and Jeff, he did the artwork for Jeff and I's first project. And then we wanted to get better. And then we were looking for a producer. And then Dave and Dwayne had mentioned, well, Frank wants to get into producing bands. And so I went out, took a couple of flights to some Tesla shows and talked to Frank about it, sent him some ideas. And Love, Life, and Beauty was one of those songs, as was Set Me Free. And they were about, 60 seconds worth of a song. It wasn't really a song, it was an idea. And, we made the arrangements, and we went out. We went to California, we went to Frank's studio, and we started. It was initially going to be him producing an album for us. And it was so fun and so easy that Frank and his wisdom turned it into Six String Soldiers. And he went and added everything else. He brought in Dickie Betts and Dave Meniketti and all those other great guys, and made it an album to me that I'm extremely proud of, very fortunate to be part of. Jeff is very proud of it. Frank is very proud of it. We would like to do another one, but I don't know if time and schedules will be permitted to that, but we really enjoyed it.
Wow. So from that contest all the way, I mean, it must just mind blown.
It is. It was mind blown, but it's kind of like
story. That's awesome.
Thank you, man. Well, I got to give credit to my buddy Matt for calling me, over and over, saying, "Dude, you got to go." Matt's a guy that I grew up with, and at the time, I told him I wanted to get back to playing guitar and writing music, and he called me several times, and I kind of blew it off. So it was finally get off my ass and go out and do something. I played my guitar my whole life. It was mind blown. So there was so many things. I mean, meeting Dickie Betts, meeting Dave Meniketti, playing those shows with Frank and stuff like that. There would be times, where when we were doing some of those Six String Soldier shows, I'd look over and be like, "Hey, I'm here. It's me, Jeff, and Aaron Lee, and Courtney DeAugustine, and Frank, and we're playing these songs that we wrote together. We're playing a whole show, and then on top of that, there was people that the Tesla fans would fly out all over the place to see the shows. I mean, all of us are working people, and you look out and you see someone. You're in Florida, and then you go to California. You see the same people that were in Florida, in California. Well, those people work. They got jobs. They're taking time off. And so at that point in time, I learned that when you want to do music, that you owe it to whoever's there to give 100% in everything you do. Be sober, be ready. I mean, because that meant a lot to me. That meant a lot to me to see people, go across the country like that. Now, obviously, they were there for Frank. they were there because of the project as well. And I'll tell you what, I am a better person and an artist because of Frank and Tesla and Jeff and all that we've done. It's opened up lots of other doors. Other projects that I'm working on are because of what took place because of Frank and Tesla and Dave. I mean, Dave Root and Frank Hannon have a pivotal contribution to who I am as an artist, big time. Frank, as well as me as a guitar player, taught me how to play an acoustic guitar. Just all the things that makes him a guitar god. He kind of shared with me, and then I learned, why Tesla is the way they are is because they were brought on by Ronnie Montrose. Yeah. And then so you just kind of see it, this Northern California thing is just great. The Montrose, the Tesla, and
he kind of coached him and helped him out in the beginning, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And all those guys have that nature. Tesla is a very caring band. They're very approachable. There's none of that drama with those guys. They're what rock and roll is supposed to be.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree.
Now, granted, there's a lot of other great bands out there, but these guys have managed to keep, a majority of the members together for this entire time. If you look at all the other bands that rose to fame in the 80s, they're still strong, and they're still making new music. I mean, they just put out a new album, Simplicity, which was great. I'm hoping you guys have it.
Oh yeah.
And they're still playing. I mean, they're out on tour right now with Def Leppard, killing it, absolutely killing it. And so yeah, I'm just really lucky. It's definitely something that I'll never forget. And who knows, maybe down the road we could do another 6 Soldiers album.
Right on.
Well, hopefully. Yeah. Like you mentioned, Dickie Betts and Dave Meniketti and Pat Travers and all those guys. Did they come into the studio and record with you guys, or did they do it on their own and send it over? Or?
Dickie Betts and Pat Travers and Rick Derringer did. Dave Meniketti, I think, because of scheduling, had to do it from his own studio.
Wow. What was that like, getting to record with legends like that?
Well, just to like every now and then, I've got the album cover up there on my. Every now and then, I'll just turn it over and I'll just see, Pat Travers, Dickie Betts, Dave Meniketti, and Rick Derringer. Rick Derringer is really largely responsible for what we have as guitar players in rock and roll. I mean, he goes way back.
Yeah.
Way back. He's one of the founding fathers of rock and roll. And I didn't really know a lot of this, so Frank really educated me on this. And they used to throw the guitars back and forth, and they were dangerous before anybody else was dangerous with the guitar. So to be part of that, when I look at the credits for 6 Soldiers, I just tell myself, wow, this is something that will never happen again in rock and roll history. To have all these guitar players on one album, just very, very lucky, very blessed. And to know that, these are ideas that Jeff and I had that formulated into this is just really cool. Really cool. I mean, the plan was never to make it that album. The plan was just for Frank to produce us. This goes to show you, to Frank's credit, his ear and mine as a businessman and as a producer. Because he took these ideas. Obviously, we wrote the songs together. We made the album together. The three of us participated in that. But he took it beyond just being recording. He did the marketing. He's the one that got these guys to come along. The only reason why Dave Meniketti and Pat Travers and Rick Derringer and Dickie Betts even considered doing the album is because of Frank. But they had to have liked the songs, and so
definitely.
Just. You hear about those cliches that all the stars were aligned. All the stars were aligned. But the thing is you got to make yourself ready. You got to be prepared for the stars to align. So Jeff and I had years before that of hard work leading up to that. It just didn't just happen. We had been producing our own music, performing out, recording. There no matter how old you get, there's always some new stuff to learn. You could always learn.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, speaking of learning, you give guitar lessons, right?
Yes, yeah, I do. Yeah, when I have time, I enjoy that a lot. What I do is I do them over Skype in this room here.
Yeah.
I don't do them out of my house anymore, primarily because it was just too hard to slot time, and parents are always late, and
Yeah.
and I don't, and it's terrible to make the student, to punish the student for it, but time is of the essence these days. And so I do it over Skype because it's easier. So I have a scheduling fee, and then I have the lesson fee. The scheduling fee is there to book the lesson, and then if they bail out, I still get paid for part of that time for booking.
Yeah. If
I was in a predicament where I could do it for free, I would, but I'm just not. I don't know any of us that are in a predicament to do anything.
Yeah, no kidding. You can't waste your time or money for sure.
Hopefully there would be a time or an event where I could go hang out with some young aspiring guitarists and just, share some stuff. I studied music intensively, growing up around here in Albuquerque. The guy to go to was a guy by the name of Steve Mays. And I studied with him for about 10 years. And he was really my first real guitar hero, because I would take him a cassette of everybody I wanted to learn, and he would just nail it. He's really the one that taught me to be versatile. He's the one that taught me to play guitar. He's the one that, one lesson we would have a Stratocaster, a Telecaster, a jazz box, a nylon, a Les Paul, and he would want me to play to that instrument. Telecaster. He would want me to lean towards that country sound, arch top towards that jazz sound, and he's the one that taught me that a guitar, guitar is a tool for sounds, but you're the guitar player, you're the instrumentalist that's supposed to achieve those things. And he could do it very well. I mean, he could play, still to the day, he could play anything. I mean, people here in Albuquerque, you bring up the name Steve Mays, everybody uses that nod like, oh man, that's the guy. And one of his pupils, his name's Tim Pierce. He's from Albuquerque. He's about 13 years older than me, but he was really, really big growing up. That guy's been on, he moved to LA, but he was a big inspiration to me. He would come back for the holidays and visit, and Steve Mays would, he'd come down to the lesson center, and we would talk, and he'd give me points and stuff like that about playing guitar. But Tim Pierce is the guy, Jesse's Girl, Rick Springfield, that's him. He toured with Rick Springfield and stuff like that. He did some of the studio tracks for, almost every 80s band you could think of. He's done all the country stuff. I mean, if you just look him up, his album credits are, phenomenal. He's another guy that, just be well-rounded, be a guitar player that could fit anywhere. So those two guys, as far as just being a guitar player, they were really my heroes. And so I try to push myself to have that well-rounded approach. If you're going to play acoustic, mean it. If you're going to play a Strat, represent it. It's kind of, it's kind of like a marksman, getting a 308, muzzle loader, shotgun. They each have their purpose, or a motorcyclist, a dirt bike, a street bike, a sports bike. It looks the same visually, but they all have their own purpose. And that's what I try to do with the instrument. Don't always accomplish it, but that's my purpose. Whenever I, decide to take on a project, I'll try to find the instrument that will take on the attitude of that project. Yeah,
definitely. Cool.
You guys play instruments?
Yeah, I play guitar, so I can, I get that, trying to do a Strat versus a Tele type kind of sound and stuff. That's, I'm not as good as I probably could be, but I know where you're going for sure.
Right. Yeah, and it's a challenge because you look at all the great Strat players. Obviously Hendrix. For me, the best Strat player is Ritchie Blackmore.
Yeah,
hands down, one of my heroes. And then for the Les Paul, Page, of course. and then the Telecaster. I mean, you look at what John 5 does with the Telecaster.
I was just about to say John 5. That guy's nuts.
Yeah, he's a modern day guy. And then you look at like the extended range guitars. I'm really, really excited with the young guitar players who are doing with the instrument. Bands like Animals as Leaders, Periphery, and stuff like that. I'm not that guy that's going to cross my arms and judge you guys as the younger guys for tuning down, playing 7 and 8 strings. Go be yourself. I don't think us older guys should force those guys to play Freebird.
Yeah.
I mean.
Well, why would you tell Animals as Leaders to play Freebird anyways,
Right, yeah. I don't know if
I love watching it and going, I have no idea what's going on, but that's awesome,
Dude, I love it. Check this out. Hold on. So this is signed by the original 3 members of Animals as Leaders.
Nice.
Can you see that?
Wow. Yeah. That is nuts.
That's their album. Yeah, I got this when it first came out. This was in 2011.
Yeah.
They came to town, and this was with their original lineup. They changed drummers since then, and so I'm really proud of this. I'm still a fan of music, man. I mean,
yeah.
I think I'm more of a fan of the music than I am of being a guitar player. I think, I want to share that with you, but yeah.
That's awesome.
And I think there's no better midlife crisis than listening to rock music.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're right, for sure. It's funny you say that because the older I listened to a lot of stuff over the years, but the older I get, the more I come back to just the good rock and the metal and and I don't want to do anything else, but I force myself to. But that's a good point about a midlife crisis. I can identify.
Well, I mean, you're as old as you want to be, and you're as young as you want to be. I'm enjoying rock music big time right now.
Yeah.
I just picked up the new Tremonti Killer album.
Great record.
Yeah. I mean, just heavy. As far as modern guitar players, I think that guy is it. For the guy that transcends the last century to the new century. That guy works hard. That guy's just at the top of his game right now.
Yeah, that the minute you hit play on that album, it just smacks you right in the face. I love it.
Well, yeah, and he's got this good sense of this ballad thing, but it doesn't sound like a retro ballad. He's got that song Sympathy.
Yeah,
that song just blows me away, man. Pop Evil. Is another band that I really, really like. I met Matt through Frank. Matt's the bass player for Pop Evil. They're a band that is on the rise for sure. I love those guys. Those guys have an energy. Their new album's getting ready to come out. There's another band that I really, really like called Nothing More.
Right on.
I don't know if you ever heard of them, but you guys got to look them up. They put on one of the best live shows I've ever seen.
Really? I'll look them up.
They are beyond awesome. In fact, the guitar tech from Seven Dust told me, he's like, you got to see the opening act, because we went to a Seven Dust show, and I was like, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, everybody's gonna be working for these guys. These guys are awesome. And so we left the hotel, went to the show, and these guys just blew me away. I was so, I bought the vinyl record, I bought the CD, and I bought the shirt. I was so excited about these guys, and they've been on the road with like Five Finger Death Punch and stuff like that. Killer band, So for me, I look at all these new bands, and I want to participate. I want to be current. I want to write current music, and but with a balance. I got another project that I'm working on here that got suspended temporarily. It started in the fall of last year, the writing process, and it went going, and then we started doing the vocals, and my dad, he retired. He got forced into retirement because of health reasons.
Yeah.
In February. And so I says, well, I'm just going to I'm not going to work as much. I'm going to spend some time with my dad.
Yeah.
My dad's 82 years old. We're worked his whole life. Did 2 tours in the military.
Wow.
Worked for the post office for over 50 years. And, that's all your whole life is work.
Yeah.
And now he just sits at home. So I try to take at least 1 or 2 days a week and just go hang out, get him out of the house.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to,
take him around, he's got about 90 minutes in him, until he gets fatigued and wants to go home. Yeah. The album will, so with that being said, the album will be done when it's be done,
Yeah.
This album I'm really excited about. It could be a completely different project than anything I've ever done. It's going to be more modern. It's going to be a lot heavier. It's going to be around that, like a Seven Dust, like Mark Tremonti type heavy. It's got all the personnel that will meet that type of criteria. Yeah. I'm excited about that.
Now that'll be good to hear.
Yeah, the demos are great. I've let my close friends hear the demos, and they're like, "Well, when are you going to release it?" I'm like, "Well, it's not done yet." They're like, "It sounds done to me, dude." There's a lot of work to be done with that, So, but back to the project that Jeff and I are working on. Jeff and I have a really great relationship. We can take a few months off and we can pick up right where we left off. And we already know, we know each other. It's kind of like a school of fish,
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys, I'm sure you guys are doing this because you know each other and you trust each other.
Yeah.
You know each other's limits. You know each other's weaknesses and strengths. There's no figuring out. You can just kind of go out and be a team.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. And we can be honest with each other. And I think that's with anything that you're going to work in, with anything in life, if you can't be honest with each other, I don't think you can really be with each other, in any type of relationship.
Yeah, definitely. You've got to put it out there, say what's in mind.
Yeah. Well, and the ultimate thing is we love each other as brothers, and part of that love is respecting each other's space, opinion, and artistic desires. We tread over it. What I mean by that is, so, well, what do you want to do? What do you want to say?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what do you want to say? And we always have a direction, a point. Well, we haven't done a song like this. Like, we'll look at us at another artist. A prime example is there's a song on the Six String Soldiers album called "To the Light." And when we came up with that idea, before we took it to Frank, we were like, we were huge Lenny Kravitz fans. Like, we should have something like that that's bouncy, that like just that greasy Afro rock and roll, just that Lenny Kravitz thing, man, standing in front of an old Marshall, with the Les Paul hung too low, some bell-bottom jeans. We need to have something like that. And that's how we come up with songs. It's still that high school kid, just thinking of things. I think it keeps you young and heart.
Definitely.
That's how we dream up songs. So we're talking about these new ideas. That's how him and I come up with ideas. We point to our heroes. Well, what have our heroes done? Because obviously nobody's going to do nothing new. Who's going to do anything new?
Yeah, yeah.
The Beatles already wrote all the great songs. All we do is remix them.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a good point, because like no matter what you do, everything's been done. So yeah, you just got to do stuff that sounds good, makes you feel good.
Yeah, man. Just participate.
Yeah.
You just got to rewrite the Tony Iommi riff some other way, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Play it backwards.
Something. Remember doing that when we were kids, when they would say that this song backwards, satanic. Did you ever get them trying to go backward to hear it?
Yeah. Yeah. But I had, when I was a kid, I wasn't really that cool. I just had my brother's Alabama record, but I tried to turn it backwards.
Yeah.
But it didn't get quite as evil as, Black Sabbath or something.
No, but I used to do that just, he's screaming, "What are you doing?" I'll never forget my grandmother when the first time I brought home a Slayer Rain and Blood record. No, it was Hell Awaits. Hell Awaits the intro. It has all that, like, sounds like you're in hell.
Yeah, that's a great record. Yeah.
My grandma, being the stark Catholic she is, you know, a little throwing water on me and stuff like that.
She's looking out for you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Slayer, man. I mean, that's another band, you know, growing up that, you know, and look now, I mean, it's hard to believe that those guys have been around for what, over 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Hell Awaits. That's my favorite Slayer record. That's just a badass raw album. I love that album.
You know, that's how I spent my youth, man. Slayer, Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, Testament, Suicidal Tendencies.
Yeah, you're one of us. You're one of us.
Yeah. You know, then there was SOD, Stormtroopers of Death. You know, all that. But then amidst all that, I mean, I was still listening to Dokken, Rat. And I'll admit it, man, I like Bon Jovi.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way, dude.
Yeah. Tesla, Stryper. Speaking of Stryper, have you heard the new Stryper?
Yes, actually, I heard it yesterday.
I have not heard it yet.
Yeah.
Well, one song.
Yeah. You know, Clint Lowry from Seven Dust helped them with that song. They did a co-write. Yeah.
Wow. Did you like the Sweet Lynch? Have you heard that yet?
I love the Sweet Lynch.
Yeah, that was a good one. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
I tell everybody that's the album that Dokken never made.
Right.
You are correct.
In fact, yeah, Chris Collier, the guy that's playing drums for us, he mixed that. I think he mixed that album. I have it somewhere. I think he mixed that album. I know he did. I don't know if he did all the mix, but I know he worked on the audio with that. Right. And Chris Collier is also going to do the final production on this track. This track's going to be loud and obnoxious, like in a good way. I like, you know, punch.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what I like about Chris Collier is as an engineer, he brings that punch. Did you guys hear the new Shinedown? Cut the Cord?
I haven't heard it yet.
Yeah, I heard it.
Has, yeah.
Yeah, those guys did right. I'm glad that they came out with that. That was killer. What's another one that I was really into? Saint Asonia.
I still haven't heard that.
I heard that one. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I heard it once though. I need to listen to it again.
It's cool. That's got Corey Lowry, who's Clint Lowry's younger brother, which was from
Stereo
Mojo.
Stereo Mud. Right.
Yeah, Stuck Mojo.
Yeah.
And I Empire and Dark New Day. Dark New Day. I don't know if you guys know this. Speaking of Dark New Day, Jeff and I, one of our songs, So Long, we had Will Hunt play drums.
Oh, that's cool.
Will Hunt, well, obviously he was from Evanescence.
Yeah.
Black Label Society.
Yeah.
Dark New Day.
That guy's played with everybody.
That guy's well, dude, when Tommy Lee calls you personally to fill in because he's torn a shoulder.
Yeah.
You know you're a badass.
Yeah. You go do it.
I'll tell you what, I learned a lot from Will Hunt. That guy's a beast.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and that's one thing that Jeff and I really, believe it or not, you know, him being a lead vocalist, me being a guitar player, we are adamant. That's all about the drummer and all about the bass player.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a backbone.
In rock music, I mean, the drummer has to be great. And when you listen to Beggars and Thieves and So Long, Will Hunt did both of those songs. And those are just out of the park type songs. We're going to have a challenge finding a drummer to play the set once it comes time to do some shows for these songs.
That's a good thing, though.
Yeah. Well, Chris Collier can cut it, but that guy's working on everything. I mean, I know he's doing so many albums now. I'm just glad that he took the time for me to go out there this weekend. I think he just got tired of me bugging him. You know, he finally caved. But yeah,
right on.
Well, do you have plans to take it on the road at all, or just kind of keep it in the New Mexico area for now? Or
we would love to. You know, the thing about the road, especially even with everything that Jeff and I have done, we're very grateful for. It's still not enough to create guarantees anywhere to go out and make it a sustainable thing on the road. Well, we do plan on. We would like, I should say, we would like to do. We'd like to go back. We'd like to go to Arizona, and we would definitely like to go to Northern California. Northern California is like a second home to us. Mm-hmm. That's where we did the 16 Soldiers album. We did a lot of shows up there. I think if Jeff and I do anything, it would be in Northern California, in the Sacramento area. We got a lot of friends up there, and we could sell some tickets and go up there. That's something that we would really, really like to do. We just got to get, the right people, the right promoter, the right club and everything, and do it at a time where we know that all of our friends can make it, and get on the bill with an opening band that would cover the cost, to be honest with you.
Right.
We're independent. So everything that we do and everything we have done is self-funded from the start until now. And but every artist now is self-funded.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I think that's why it's important for, for people to even just do the digital download, even though the artist doesn't get anything from that, really.
Yeah, you raise eyebrows.
Well, and that's, and that's where the thing for me as a music fan, as you see, I buy the CD and stuff like that, but CDs are no longer portable because we have these things.
Yeah.
We have these, the Androids and the iPhones. And so, I just encourage everybody, buy the CD physically. Most artists now are going to give you a digital download with the purchase. Buy the physical CD, keep it around. At least it'll be there. If your computer crashes and your phone crashes, you still have the CD, you still have the physical format.
Yeah,
I'm still a fan of the physical format. I don't know if it's because all of us are older and we had the taste of opening up the liner notes and reading that stuff. It's just kind of stale just to go through and tap.
Yeah.
I think the film industry is feeling a taste of it as well with Netflix and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Digital, and I don't want to bash digital too much because, I've been in the tech industry for 20 years now, and I've watched it grow. I've been part of it, and it's definitely made me some money. However, sometimes I really worry that we are going to convenience ourselves out of existence.
Yeah, and I know. It's almost a point where you won't even be able to leave your house. You'll have everything there. Yeah,
it's one thing that I can't stand. Right, one thing I can't stand is like we drive to go visit some friends or something like that, and they're just like this the whole time.
Yeah, we're all guilty of it.
Yeah, dude, come on, man. My wife and I, we have a pretty good balance. We put it away and we hang out.
Yeah.
I'm really lucky. I do have to say before we bring this to a close is that I couldn't do any of this if I didn't have a supporting wife. My wife, I'm sure you guys see, from my Facebook page and stuff like that. My wife is very, very supportive.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We're best friends. We have a philosophy as a marriage that agreement. We agree on everything. We don't do anything unless we agree. Everything has a pros and cons list. The album that's I'm going to come out with next year was all her idea.
Yeah.
Because there was no work, and she's like, well, what, you always want to do an album with these guys. Why don't you make it happen? Why don't you get on the phone with the management and make it happen?
Yeah.
And then, she books all the plane flights, she, through 16 Soldiers and all that, all the plane flights, all of the hotel arrangements, all of the rental car stuff, all the missed flights, the budget for food and all that. She took care of all that for me.
Right on.
And she did it with a smile and did it with pride. She enjoys it just as much as I do. She's actually the one that really picks the songs.
Yeah.
I got my little work area right here, and I'll be working on something, and she'll text me, I love it, or she'll come in and say I love it, and then I'll say, all right, this is one, and then I put it in the folder and stuff like that. And
there you go. Sounds like a good team.
Yeah, man, I'm really, really lucky, and family as well. The family is very supportive. When there are times where I do, get to go out of town, her sisters come and they watch movies, and I've got my kid. My kids are grown. My son's older.
Yeah.
My daughter's a teenager right now, and and she's she's a musician. She's an artist. She's also an intellectual. She makes me very proud. My son is a very giving young man. He gives a lot of his time to the elderly and stuff like that. He just got a new full-time job recently and making really good money. Made me proud, and just kind of weird when your kids don't need you.
Yeah. I bet.
Yeah.
You did something right.
Well, it's time flew. Granted, I don't get to see him as much as I'd like, but they sure do make me proud. Life's good.
Cool. Right on.
I want to ask you one quick question before we let you go.
Sure.
I know from Facebook you're a big Van Halen fan.
Yeah.
So what did you think of that comment a couple weeks ago that Eddie made about Michael Anthony? Did you see that?
I did see it. To me, being an artist and being a band member, I know well enough that it takes a team. I'm not, the ones that are talented enough to do it by themselves have been dead for a long time. Bach, Beethoven,
Yeah.
Mozart. For a rock band, it takes a team.
Yeah.
And part of me thinks that maybe it was just a marketing strategy, to create a news cycle. I don't know, man. It's kind of like I idolize Eddie Van Halen so much that he can't really do me wrong.
Yeah, look over all the other stuff. Yeah. It's a good way of putting it, though. Rock band is a team. And
yeah, I mean,
I get you.
well, and everybody has a part to make things move forward. I mean, I just look at the things I've been part of. I mean, Six String Soldiers is a prime example. That all happened because of, Frank Hannon, Jeff Sandoval, and myself. And then we had team members. We had, Steve Brown on the drums.
Yeah.
We had Augustine. We had all these other artists come in and play. All of those people made that album great. And they're all listed in the credits. And not only that, but we had, Dwayne do the art. We had TC in the back end, just kind of keeping everybody on time and stuff like that. Understanding when we were fatigued and getting us some food. It takes a team out there, man. I mean, it's a band has its members, but they have everybody behind it that makes it successful too. So it was disappointing, but I just think artists, when you create art with somebody, I mean, it's very emotional and it's very, very private, but public at the same time. And with being a musician, and I've never been, no one on the planet will be at Eddie Van Halen's status, but I think, maybe he just, he's older and maybe he's not used to being around this technology now, because everything you do is recorded and everything you do can be captured to where, in the 70s and 80s, a management could follow up and with a reporter and edit.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
I'll tell you what, man, I'm trying to figure out how to go see him.
Yeah.
With everything else I have scheduled. Plus, the Foo Fighters are coming to Albuquerque. I want to go see Breaking Benjamin. I still got to go see Tesla and Def Leppard, so I'm trying to figure out how to go see that. Are you guys going to go see him?
Yeah, they're coming here in October.
Yeah, and then Me and my wife are going to see the Foo Fighters in Oklahoma City in September, so we're looking forward to that. That's gonna be great.
Yeah, man, I'm stoked to see the Foo Fighters. I've never seen them.
Oh, you're gonna love it. I mean, I won't go on, but yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I'm telling you right now.
Did you have to take out a loan to buy the Van Halen tickets? I know that they're.
Oh no, I was talking about Def Leppard Tesla. Is what that's coming here. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I want to see Van Halen. I mean, I've seen some of the video clips out there, and you know, man, Wolfgang Van Halen, he's tearing it up, dude.
Yeah. Oh, he's more than capable.
Yeah. Well, you know, plus, you know, the stuff that he did on the Tremonti album. If you go back and listen just to the bass parts, the guy's a real deal, man.
Yeah, that guy's nuts for sure.
You know, it's a real deal. I think that's cool. I think Eddie Van Halen was smart by giving him a bass.
Yeah. And he's doing his own solo stuff, I'm pretty sure. So I really want to hear that. Let's see what he does.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad Van Halen's out, and they look great. They sound great from what I hear from the clips. I know there's some haters out there, but they're Van Halen.
Yeah.
Who can say they're Van Halen?
Yeah, gotta love it.
And I hope some of the younger people are going to see Van Halen to see, you know, the stuff that we talked about. It's not, you know, it's not like some fantasy, you know. You know, those concerts were great. I think the newer bands are putting on great concerts. They just don't have the notoriety and the money that, you know, the bands of the 70s and 80s had, even the 90s.
Yeah. Joe, yeah.
You know, but I think music is really strong right now. I think that the digital age has given the opportunity for people like Jeff and I to make our own thing, kind of run our own independent thing. Do I think that, you know, the digital age, as far as the tech companies creating this, you know, the Spotify's and stuff like that, do I think that's put music in a bad position? I don't know. And I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah.
I try to spend my time creating music more than worrying about what's happening to it.
Yeah.
But I do think it's something that artists kind of have to address and figure out, well, what do we want to do? How long are we going to let the tech companies tell us what to do?
Yeah, it's going to come to a head. I think we're still in the pending stage. I think we'll eventually get to where, you know, we'll find out what it's going to be, but it's like we just don't know yet. I don't know.
Well, you ask any artist, they just say, man, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's up in there.
I think that's the problem, is nobody knows. But the good thing is there are people out there that buy physical CDs and buy vinyl records and want physical product.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm one of them. It's part of, you know, my monthly budget is I have a, you know, pocket for buying music.
Right on.
I also have a big pocket for buying Starbucks.
That's actually on our notes.
Yeah, it went from sex, drugs, and rock and roll to Starbucks, running, vitamins, and yoga. No.
Yep, gotta love getting old.
Yeah. All right, guys, I appreciate you, man. Any other questions?
Oh, no, man. I think we're good.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see you.
All right, there you have it. A great interview with Mike Araiza. We'd like to thank him again for taking the time out of his day to do that with us.
Definitely. Thank you, Mike. That was awesome.
Yeah, and once again, be sure and check him out on Facebook. Check out his work with Mike the Mike Araiza and Jeff Sandoval project, and look forward to the Co-Write project. And of course, pick up Six String Soldiers by the Frank Hannon Band if you have not got it.
Yes, definitely.
It came out a few years ago, so you should have it by now. But if you don't, do yourself a favor and do that.
Yeah, we'll let it slide this once. Just go get it now, and you'll be cool.
And we'd also like to mention that this podcast is not sponsored by anyone. So if you are someone that has a business or a product or a band or anything or you just have money that you don't know what to do with, and you would like to sponsor the Thunder Underground podcast, hey, shoot us an email at thethunderunderground@gmail.com or message us on Facebook or, you know, wherever. Tweet us.
Exactly. Hey, we're open to talk.
Yeah. And as usual, thethunderunderground.com once again has the links to all our social media. And I don't believe I mentioned it in our intro, but we've got a YouTube channel that has playlists for every episode we do. There's a companion playlist for this episode up. Just pull us up, The Thunder Underground, subscribe to us, and then you click on the link for episode 12 companion playlist, and it'll have a lot of the music that Mike's been a part of, and then plus all the other bands that he mentioned that we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
But in the meantime, take a listen to our podcast that we've done in the past. We've got 11 other ones up.
And they're all amazing, and they're all stupendous.
Yes.
And minty fresh.
Minty fresh, as always. Well, on that note, we will see you next time.
All right, later on.